but they're not giving us the background on how to do that, right?
Exactly.
So what is the saying? Teach a man to fish, or right instead, right?
Don't give him fish.
If
you give a man a fish, he'll have fish to eat for a
day.
But
Exactly.
if you teach him how to fish, he'll have fish for a lifetime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that you come from that educational background, you really do care about your students.
Absolutely.
I think we need to have that. And I think that's a great advice, because sometimes the fear comes from something so big, and you're like, and especially in LA, I mean, we know how expensive LA can be, but you're just saying, you go somewhere, $20, not a bad thing. Can you remember the first time that you obviously you got paid well, you started doing well. Can you remember the first thing that you purchased with that big check? Because I know a lot of people say, always save it, but I know people kind of splurge and get something that they've always wanted, because it lets them know that they've earned it and they value that. Yeah. Can you remember something that you purchased that was for yourself? And I know that's hard for moms, because I feel like you're all over the place. Oh, I love it.
I love emeralds. I did a trip to Egypt. I love it. My things I usually do is I buy myself trips, experiences, because I love to travel the world. I love it, yes. But I do love jewelry, but you can only wear so many rings, right?
Yes.
But I would probably, when I have an opportunity, I will travel.
Yes.
And it really widens or broadens your horizons. It allows you to meet a lot of different cultures, and it really puts things into perspective. I just got back from a mission trip in El Salvador.
Oh, that's where I'm from. Awesome.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. We went and helped some people up in the mountain areas that don't really have good connections, and out on the island.
Yeah. There's so many little ones, but yes.
Yeah, so we had an island out there. We went out and we're working with some people out there to try to help them start making soaps and be entrepreneurs to create a little bit of income for themselves. Because on the entire island, there's only 3 people that have W-2 income out of about 150 people.
Imagine, yeah.
So,
Probably Sultan. I'm trying to think which island, but I think that's
Khaliza or
there's so many different names. I have to look it up.
So being able to start giving back. So that's one of the things when you have funds, and people say, well, yeah, it's not all about the money. It's not, but it's about what the money can do. So it's not even about what the money can do for you. Of course, you've got to take care of you and your family. But then you can start giving back. You can start helping other people and make an impact in their lives. And that is so rewarding.
And, and I think that's something I always love about when I'm doing these interviews is obviously people are successful in their own right, in their own industry. But the important line that I see so many and have in common, they'll say the same thing. They're like, I just wanted to help my children. I wanted to help my community.
Exactly.
And it
my church.
Exactly. And it trickles down. And I think that's something that's so important. Just taking 20 minutes out of your day to learn something like this. A lot of you are probably thinking, I need to invest now because. Yeah.
Now here's a guideline though. Yes. You ask about how much you spend on yourself. So here's the guideline that when I'm training and teaching, I tell people, you have 1/3 of your money you need to save.
Smart. Ooh, that's more than 10%, which I like that too.
1/3 you save. Okay. 1/3 you reinvest.
Okay.
And 1/3 you spend on yourself.
I love that. And self-care comes with that. So that's
right.
Really
so
important.
What's so important is making sure you are rewarded, because if you're working hard all the time, but you never take time for yourself and you never reward yourself, then eventually you'll say, well, what is this worth?
Yes.
But you have to reward yourself.
Yes. I love it.
Go have a spa day.
Yeah, so you need to enjoy that, because then you don't have that balance, right?
Exactly,
and we need mental health, we need physical health. I think everything that goes with that, right?
Right.
Could you give us maybe some favorite books or resources that you use? Obviously, she talked about Robert Kiyosaki, which I'm a big fan. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Correct.
The first book I ever read from him, and
The Cash Flow Quadrant.
Cash Flow Quadrant is another great one. And it just changed my outlook in life. In college, when I read that, I was like, this is pretty brilliant. So is there any resources that maybe the first book that someone that's maybe thinking getting
this is an old book. It's been around for a long time. But it's called The Millionaire Next Door.
I love that book.
And it's kind of boring in some areas, and maybe some of the statistics are a little bit out of date. But I will share with you that when you take a look at your income and your expenses, I love it because most people can relate to this, like a game. My boys were both baseball players. You have to have a good offense. You have to be able to score runs.
True.
But you have to have a good defense, because if you let the other team score more runs than you score, then you're going to lose the game, right?
Sorry, Dodgers, recent World Series. So sad for us. Go ahead.
But so that book talks about having a good offense and a good defense, and I also like it because it talks about pest control operators. It talks about how
funny. I don't remember that.
Doctors and lawyers, many times they have a certain expectation of society that they live in a big house, they drive a nice new car,
Absolutely.
they wear nice clothes, and they're spending more than they're making, or they're at least spending everything they make.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Beverly Hills. Most people think that's like one of the I'm like, those are the places that have the most debt. These people carry so much because of that.
It's that image.
Pressure. Exactly.
So when I was doing pest pest control in Lexington, Kentucky, we would go into this really nice, beautiful subdivision and to do pest control, and the house was empty of furniture. So the people put every dollar they had into the house, which was a nice facade, but what was their real... They owed everything. They had no furniture. They couldn't afford to buy furniture in their house.
Wow.
So don't look and be envious of what other people are doing. The thing is to live below your means, and I'm not saying to just live in a cardboard box.
Yes.
Obviously, you've got to be
much lower than what you think.
But you have to live below what you're making, and if you save a small amount of money over a long period of time using the rule of 72, you will create wealth. So maybe some of you remember this, maybe some of you don't, but I can remember newspaper articles like this. Librarian dies and leaves $2 million for taking care of cats, right?
Right.
And you think, how does a librarian have $2 million? Because she never spent any money. She never got married. She never had kids. You wouldn't even know. Yeah. And she just stockpiled her money.
Yes.
And she lived below her means. And so she had a long time for her money to double and double and double and double and double. So with the rule of 72, it takes just as much time to double from $500,000 to $1 million as it does from 1,000 to 2,000.
And I think that's key, especially not just for, I was going to say for our youth, but actually for the older generation. Because I feel like sometimes I see, people that are like trying to keep up with everyone, and it's like, at least when you're younger, you're like, oh, I can live off a couch, it doesn't matter. But I think that's really important. The key that you're saying is being able to understand that in any field you can create something. And that book too, but it was Thomas Stanley, I believe, right? It did the research for The Millionaire Next Door, and so many cool tips on kind of just how you really recycle, reuse, and what you use.
Right. And the other one would be the 4-Hour Work Week.
Oh, yes. I just referred to Tim Ferriss. That's such a great book. And granted, we know he doesn't do 4 hours, which is okay because he's a workaholic, which is great. But the great tips that he talks about. The research
in there, and just talking about using virtual assistants. I've used virtual assistants in the Philippines. I mean, that's just phenomenal.
I've gone down to 4 work days because of that book. I'm like, the 4 hours is definitely not there, but it's like the fact that I have an extra day during the week is just
work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. Great resources. Before we wrap it up, I would like people to before we wrap it up, definitely you can tell us how people can find you and connect with you, but but going back on the line of, obviously you're a mom, you're an educator, you're a mentor, you're a speaker, all these things. Can you probably tell us one thing that you're proud of this past, it could be this past year, it can be personally or professionally, because I think this is something, especially as women, we're at a conference for women, we need to be able to not only brag about people that we know, women that are doing amazing things. And recently we just talked more and more about the wage gap that we're seeing amongst women getting paid less than men. And yesterday was Latina Pay Day, Latina Equity Pay, which getting paid 50 cents on the dollar. It's horrible.
Right.
So maybe something that you're proud of, because I think when you share your accomplishments, other women not only can rejoice with you, but they can be like, oh my God, I can do that too someday. So is there something that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I think it's just taking your information that you're gaining and knowledge and actually applying it. So people will say knowledge is power. It's not really knowledge that's power, it's the application that's the key. And I like to say, if it were just the knowledge, we'd have a lot of millionaire librarians, right?
Isn't that true?
So they have all the knowledge around them, they live around it every day, but it's really applying that knowledge that's key. And find good mentors and trainers in your life that can take you further down the road. We all need mentors and trainers in all aspects of our lives. And don't try to do it yourself. This is a team, this is teamwork, this is a team.
Right.
This is a team event, and we hire people. Well, actually, we don't hire them. That's what's so great. We don't have a payroll. We have people we work with on a regular basis, title people, real estate agents, small banks, just people that we work with, and we enjoy their company. We create a team environment, and we can move mountains when we work with other people. So creating a team event is a lot more fun than going through life by yourself.
Collaborate, don't compete. So
there you go.
Definitely stay tuned. And how can people find you?
Okay, well, I have a company called Dr. Tax Lien.
Okay.
And it's DR.
Okay.
Tax, like you pay your taxes, right?
Right.
TAXLIEN, drtaxlien.com.
Okay.
And I also have another one called Real Estate Riches Unlocked.
Oh, awesome.
So perfect. I teach basic real estate as well as some advanced strategies, and they can find me there. Or they can get me on my email at maryjo@drtaxlien.com.
Perfect. And we'll put this all in the show notes too. And once again, thank you and congratulations for all you're doing. We need more women like you, and looking forward to this 3-day conference ahead of us. But stay tuned for more tips, Financially Savvy in 20 minutes. And yes, if you have any questions, please let us know, because we want to hear more from you, and obviously maybe hear back and kind of have you back and just give us a whole breakdown on tax liens.
Sounds awesome.
Where to invest, especially you don't have to invest in your own city, believe it or not. So stay tuned for more, and thank you once again for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Bye.